can ask you your thoughts about this guilty verdict.
I just can't, it hasn't sunk in yet. It's been so long, we've just waited and waited, and now that it's here, it's like, wow, maybe it'll sink in later, I hope.
You indicated that you just wanted justice and for the jury to be fair. You feel like that's what happened today?
I do feel like that's what happened because they looked like they were all a bunch of fair-minded persons. So yeah, I feel like that's what happened.
They'll begin sentencing in the morning. What sentence do you think is justice? 0 to 40 years.
Yeah, I'm hoping they give him 4 years. I really am, because if he gets 40 years, then he's not going to serve a fraction of it.
About this verdict.
So I'm hoping he gets 40 years.
Thank you very much. That's Colleen Middleton.
Colleen, your son charged the death penalty, not in
It hasn't sunk in. I know we're all ecstatic, but we'll be even more happier when it finally sinks in.
Arguing in what would Robbie say today? Tried as an adult.
He would be extremely happy because he was so afraid that Mr. Collins would harm another child, so he would be extremely happy. This is Robert was the driving force behind me. He was pushing me to do it.
According to my calendar, you had 13 eyewitnesses for a guilty verdict. What is that here?
I'm afraid that we'll never know who was on the trail with Mr. Collins, because I absolutely believe, and I was told by the Sheriff's Department, that there was someone else on the trail with him, and I want to know who that was.
You believe in your heart of hearts, don't say who it is, but you believe you know who it is.
I do, absolutely. I believed I've known who it was from the very beginning, and they're just going to get away with it is what it feels like. But I'm trying not to think about that at this moment, just enjoying the little small victory we have.
What are you going to do
thank
tonight?
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
My family and I, we're going to be calling all of our relatives. That's the first thing we'll be doing. And then we're just going to do something together, just me and my other 2 children and my husband. We're just going to try to stay home together.
You often hear about closure in situations like this. Is that even something that's possible?
No, it's not possible because I don't know who was on the trail with him. So no, it's not possible. But we did manage to get a very bad person brought out into the light. Now everybody knows to be afraid of him. So then we'll take that for now, and then I'll regroup and try to figure out how to move forward and hopefully find out who was on the trail with him.
I imagine it's been all-consuming.
It has been all-consuming. It has. I've dwelled on it so much that you just have to go away and not think about it for a while. But it is all-consuming, and it will be again. You're welcome.
You said at one point there was a time where you thought that there would never be an end to this, or you might not ever get any sort of resolution. Yeah. Has it seemed like a long road?
It seemed like an extremely long road, and at times it was almost hopeless, but not quite. So yeah, it's been a very long road.
Thank you.
Everybody's like,
Your name is spelled.
Yeah, it's Ken Bigham, B-I-G-H-A-M, Ken Bigham Jr.
What do you think of the verdict?
Well, it was an honor to know Robbie, represent Robbie and his family. And certainly today is a day that the family believes that justice was served. To some point, at least. We believe somebody else is on the trail besides Don. But at least today, that part of the case has been resolved. He was found guilty. We're very happy about that.
Feel Robbie, them coming to you to get this case opened up for investigation, kind of pushed this wide open like this and brought it to this?
When Robbie came to see me, we thought the best way to get this started, to bring attention to it, was to file a civil case. So we did that. The fact that it worked out like this was a huge group effort, and a lot of people responsible for that. And so we're just very grateful for it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone good?
Rob Freyer, F-R-E-Y-E-R, Assistant DA, Montgomery County.
Your reaction?
We're just relieved. It's emotional enough just to be a part of this, but, there's no words can't describe what the Middleton family has been through over the years with all of the pain and the repeated surgeries and everything else, and the delays in the justice system. They finally got their day today, and it's a relief. We commend the jury for working so hard. And they came back with a verdict in 3.5 hours after hearing from about 39 witnesses that the state of Texas brought. So we know that they listened to it very carefully. They took their job seriously. They kept their oath, and it's just a great day.
We're in Galveston, but what is your message to the folks in Montgomery County?
It goes to anywhere. Don't hurt a child. Don't do this. I mean, he did the unspeakable act of horror to that little boy. And, you know, Scott and I have talked about this on many occasions, that when you do something like this in Montgomery County, Texas, and we can prove it, then there will be consequences for your actions, you know. So we got a great deal of assistance from the folks here at the courthouse in Galveston County, for the jury that once again weighed all the evidence and did such a fine job. And it's humbling to go in there for us, for Kelly, Mark, and myself, to represent and advocate for that family and for all the officers and the doctors and everybody else that was touched in one way or another by Robert Middleton.
What do you think? The whole trial, 8 days now, almost here, and he never changed his face. They looked at his face, he never changed.
I don't want Scott comment on the defendant's courtroom demeanor yet. He's, you know, whatever.
The DA had mentioned that if they appeal, that they would appeal on the fact that he was 13 when the crime was committed, and at that point the law. What would your defense be if that was the argument in the appeal?
Well, fortunately, I won't be the one writing that brief. So there's always issues to be litigated on appeal. You know, whether the admission of certain forms of evidence and whatnot. But that's a proceeding for another day right there. So, you know, our concern right now is to put on the rest of our case to the ladies and gentlemen of this Galveston County jury, and that's what we plan on doing tomorrow.
Was there anything in this case that surprised you? I've heard people say this was one of the worst.
Yes, the sheer brutality of it, number one, and just everything else that went with it. I mean, you know, there were times during this case where there was a lot of nervous laughter with the jury. I mean, because like I said, they sort of used that as sort of a form of therapy and trying to cope with and understand how this defendant could do what he did to that little kid. You know, it's disgusting. I mean, I don't know how else to describe doing. I mean, they were the most graphic scene photographs I've ever seen. You know, and no mother and father should have to endure what Colleen and Bobby had to endure. You know, being told at 2 hospitals in one night that their son wasn't going to make it through the night, being told that he had cancer, having to change his dressings and all the other things that went with what Colleen had to do. And you know, that young man should serve as an inspiration for all of us. You know, I mean, so once again, we commend the jury for the hard work. Nobody said it would be easy.
Was it 5 hours or 4.5 hours of jury?
Something like that, Scott. Yeah.
Colleen, all through this thing, you pretty much wanted to know who else was on that trail with him. That's still pretty much the fact?
It is. We're always going to wonder, and we're always going to want to know, and we're probably, hopefully, going to push for who else was on that trail, because we can't have closure. I mean, I'm so happy that we got the verdict we did today, but I still am thinking it's only half a victory.
Well, what do you think on a trade-off? You were talking about a trade-off.
I did. I tried to get them to make some kind of a deal with him, that if he would just tell them who was on the trail with him, that, you know, they would work out something, but he wouldn't. They said no, emphatically no. There was no deal.
Thank you. All right, thanks.